What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to Deck Talk Podcast. We have. Oh, can you turn your volume down? Let's see. I don't know who's it. I had a little back feed. Uh, but guys, thank you for coming on to Deck Talk Podcast, and we've got a killer episode that Norman and myself have been looking forward to. We have had one of these gentlemen on before, but we've been really looking forward to having the other guest on as well. And but if you don't know, guys, I am Colin Burnett.
And I'm Norman Lee. That's right, Colin. We have a great episode lined up for tonight. But first, we got a little bit of business to take care of. Of course, at the beginning, we got to talk about one of our sponsors for tonight's episode. Now, I'm talking about Spear Point Performance Hooks. Hooks proven and tested to put more fish in your boat using their V-grip technology. Spear Point hooks will perfectly present lures and provide the most secure connection between hook and fish, giving you the ability to prevent fish from shaking off. Spearpoint hooks are designed to perform and trusted by anglers across the world. See what the buzz is about. Get your Spearpoint hooks today. Go to www.spearpointhooks.com. Don't forget, make sure to use the discount code DECKTALK10. Again, that's spearpointhooks.com. Don't forget, use that discount code DECKTALK10. Man, that's right, Colin. We have a heck of a show lined up for tonight, and you probably recognize the guy there sitting on the left-hand side because he's been on before about a couple months ago. But we have a special guest with this gentleman lined up tonight. Let me tell you something. He is a dadgum hammer. But anyway, let's get started with the introduction here. All right. First of all, we're going to talk about the man on the left as you're looking at your television screen. He has been fishing at the top level of our sport since the early 80s, but his passion for the outdoors goes above and beyond his accomplishments on the water. He has been a mentor, a teacher, an advocate for the future of our sport, holding countless seminars, fishing trips, children's tournaments, and a whole lot more. The one and only Mr. Gerry Brousseau. All right. Now, our special guest for the evening. Y'all ready for this one? He is a rising star with a fishing rod in his hand. His accomplishments so far as a junior angler is just off the charts. He has spent time fishing alongside some of the most iconic legends of our sport. Oh, yeah. And did I mention he's only 12 years old? I guarantee, guys, one day, and not in the not too distant future, we are going to be watching this young man competing at the highest level of our sport. Hunter Brousseau. What
What's
is
up,
going on,
guys?
guys?
Thank you
What's
for
up,
coming
man?
on.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. How are you guys doing?
Good, good,
We're
good.
we're doing great.
Real
So
Man,
good.
we're happy to be on, and we got the big guy here. I almost think I need to give him my boats and let him fish tournaments for me. He's been on a roll.
well,
He's
I
been
know.
on a roll.
I seen that 9 pounder that he was holding up the other day in that tournament down there on where was it? Poga? Estapoga?
Yeah, it was this bogey. Yeah,
That was a tank, dude.
you might have to ask.
yeah. He carried us into a third place finish with that fish, and he's been on fire. We've been on the water for like 5 days straight now, and he just keeps slamming them no matter where we go. We've been in airboats, bass boats, from shore. You know, he's really taken to the sport, and he's got his game together.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing. I'm glad you, because I was wanting to talk to y'all about it. I seen these videos about the airboat. I've never been on an airboat, and I just want to know when when am I going to get the invite to be able to hop on an airboat with y'all?
When can you get here?
I'm gonna be
That's
down there in July after ICAST.
all right. Well, you just let me know the date, and we'll get something set up, and we'll go from there.
Heck yeah. And but I do want to know, I've heard a story, Hunter, about about you, and and I just want to know, is it legit? I heard that you have your own boat, that you drive your own boat, and because I've never known somebody that's. I mean, well, you've been driving before you was 12, but I just want to know: is that true that you have your own boat and that you've been driving your own boat, you captain your own boat? Is that true?
Yep, that is true.
Ah, so how long have you been driving a boat? Because I mean, for a kid that, I mean, I've had my nieces and nephews hop behind the wheel while we're going down the channel. I mean, but that's just going a couple miles down the river or whatever. But you actually will, I mean, can unload the boat, dock the boat, and go out, guide, or and just do everything like you're out there by yourself, and then load the boat back up and stuff. So, how long have you been doing that,
I've been doing that for 2 years.
man? Man, so have you ever had anybody say, "Well, he's too young to be doing all
Oh,
Oh yeah.
you just opened up a can of worms there. We, for those of you that don't know it, last year in the spring, we made a trip back to New Hampshire and we filmed a lot of smallmouth. And he dropped me off at the dock one of them days, and I went to get the truck, and a bunch of local guys were watching him. And I backed in. He drove on the trailer. I pulled up. Before I could even get out of the truck, they're talking to him, and I come back. I go, "Hey, what's going on?" And they go, "We were asking how old he is." They said, and at that time he was only 11. And they said, "Well, here it's 16 to drive a boat by themselves." And I said, I don't see any game warden around, so I guess we're okay. They go, "Oh, that's awful nice of you to let him drive your boat." I said, "That's his boat." And so we took a little bit of grief up there, but for the most part, I'm going to be honest with you. The first couple times we went to like the local tournaments down here, like the Big Show, and they saw me back huntering, and he was only 11 at the time, and they saw, he's just a kid. Everybody's like getting out of his way, and man, now everybody has respect for him. I can drop him in the biggest crowd. He doesn't bang boats with anybody. He stays clear of everybody. He knows where the power poles are, everything. And he does it better than some adults. I hate to say that, but it's
Yeah.
true.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say the same thing, but
Uh-huh.
here's the thing. Like Hunter, when he grows up, as he's growing up in that atmosphere around you and around Roland and all them guys that are influences in his life. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind why he's so good at such a young age, because of the mentors and the teaching that he has, and the way he's shown to do things is the right way. It's all, the correct way of doing things. And
Hmm.
it all comes from the top down to Hunter, why he could do everything the right way, and do it as good as at most, and in some cases, like you said, better than some of the other backup boats. I've seen some crazy stuff at boat ramps by guys that you think know what they're doing, but yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with you absolutely. I think what's really good is that the people are really paying attention to his age and they're impressed with that. And we
yeah,
go to ICAST. I swear I get pushed to the side and everybody wants to talk to Hunter, get a picture. I don't know how many hats he's autographed over there from him fishing with Roland and stuff, but he's even been on the billboard at Spearpoint, had him up on their backdrop
yeah,
at ICAST.
yeah. We
ICAST,
seen that. We seen that.
and when we seen him at the Big Rock show, he was
Uh-huh.
on the Big Rock show
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
back. So,
Yeah.
but John Pate wanted me to ask. He said, "Ask Hunter what is his biggest fish so far, and how many big fish has he caught, and how many tournaments has he fished?" So it's a three-parter. So we'll go with the first question. What is your biggest fish so far?
9 pounds.
9 pounds.
Was the one you just recently caught? Then was
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that the one? Okay.
And so, did you know, like, could you tell a difference in the bite when that it was a bigger fish, or did you not know until you leaned back on it?
Well, I felt a little bit of ticking. And I just set the hook and I
There you
got
go.
him.
She went to the air. Yes,
Yeah.
she went to the air.
when when it jumped, what was your expression when it jumped? Like, because I know when I get all giddy and stuff like that when I have a big one jump, and I'm over there trying to dip the rod tip down it to keep it down. Did how were you? Did it make you stoked when you seen how big it was?
Well, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'll let him answer that in a minute because I know he's going to lie to you here. So
Okay.
this is what happened. When she come up the first time and jumped, I was warned that I better not miss it with the net.
Oh.
That's what I was warned. Yeah. And you
Were
can
you,
tell him how excited you were.
I was
before Hunter starts? Were you guys flipping or winding? Were you
Winding.
uptight? You
Yeah,
were
we
winding.
were pitching. We were pitching on the edge, and he probably got her about 40 feet out from the boat.
Oh, okay.
So
Were you
can
excited?
use I know when I had that when I caught my 10 pounder, I never saw it until it came up. It never wanted, but I pulled it out of about 25 foot of water, and so, but I was stoked as soon as I seen it. I told my dad because my dad already had lost a one that was over 10. He hit it with or hit my. I was fishing with a Damiki vault, and he hit the Damiki vault with the net, and all I heard was ting, and the Damiki vault goes flying up over my head, and there goes the fish up underneath the boat.
Oh
wow.
no.
So that day I would have had, or that day I finished up with my biggest three bass fish was 23 pounds.
Wow, that's a good
Wow.
catch.
And so, but, and then that's not counting. I mean, if I would have had that 10 pounder, it would have crushed it. But, what is your biggest bag so far that you've caught, Hunter?
9 pounds.
No bag.
Oh,
5 fish.
let's see.
Ooh.
What is it?
Alone or fishing a team tournament with me?
We'll
I
just
would say
do with the team tournament.
yeah.
Team tournament with me, we had a bag at 21-7.
Whew, that is
21-7.
Okeechobee.
No, it's Topoga.
That's the bugger.
Yeah. The next one down was like 17 and change. I think his best when he was fishing, he fished as a fifth grader, 11 years old. He fished in the high school division, and I think he had a bag in there that was like almost 15 pounds. He ended up
wow.
second angle. He ended up second angle of the year for the year as a fifth grader, 11 years old, fishing against high school kids. And
Now, do you?
I wanted to challenge him. That's why I put him in the with
Yeah.
the older kids. I think it did him some good.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean that's I tell people all the time, especially like in any kind of sports, if you want to better yourself in that sport, you need to really be the lowest man on the totem pole to
Hmm.
where you see you all right, this is where I need to grow. And so each time that you go out and you're playing that you have that growth instead of you being the superstar in the younger class, then if you have older people to look up to that you can play against, that's going
Yeah.
to definitely help you out. So, um, so what is your favorite lake to fish, Hunter?
Hmm. I would say mm, Huckleberry.
Where is because we have right now we have almost 900 people on here. Um, where is Huckleberry?
That's up on Sebring.
Up in Sebring.
Up in Sebring.
So, um, what makes it what makes it your favorite lake?
Mhm.
He got two PBs out of there, 6 something and
Ooh,
794.
that
So he
that
had got
that'd make it my
That make
favorite
it,
lake.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What type of as many years as I've lived in Highlands County, I've never been on Huckleberry. I mean, until you just mentioned it, I've heard of Huckleberry. Until you just mentioned it, I completely forgot about Huckleberry. But what kind of fishing is on that? Like, is there a lot of shoreline covers, a deeper body of water? What
Yeah,
style?
it's around lake. It has very few boat docks, a lot of lily pads, and drops off to like 20 feet in the middle.
Oh, okay,
And there's a little bit of structure out there,
right.
and it's not a place that's open to the public, and it's a good training place for me to train Hunter on different baits, like new stuff. Right now we have some stuff that hasn't been released yet that we are trying that'll be out at ICAST. So
Right.
we go to bodies of water like that because then you don't have people staring at you wondering what you're throwing and stuff. And it just so happens to have some big fish in it, and Hunter got a couple of them in there.
Man, that is awesome. Now, Hunter, what is one of the best advice that you have gotten from your grandfather with out on the boat, just out fishing wise?
Well, I was fishing a little fast, so I got an advice to slow down
Yeah,
and kind of like dead stick it a little.
yeah,
Right.
and that and definitely from time to time that definitely does play a big effect. I know, especially up here on like the TVA lakes and stuff, that summertime you can really speed it up, but when it starts getting fall to spring, you really want to kind of slow it down here, and
Yeah,
uh, and so being able, and I know, and it's the hardest thing because I won't say that I'm a power fisherman, as in like trying to just go and I'll break things down, but being able to slow it down and throw like a drop shot or a wacky rig or something like that, or a Texas rig, to where I slow it down, that has been being able to do that has definitely helped out my fishing game.
yeah.
So, what uh, do you have any sponsors already, Hunter?
Ton.
I was gonna say he's probably passing Jerry in the sponsor department.
Well,
No, not yet. He's got a long ways to go in that, but he does have a lot of the same sponsors I have, which
right,
you'd figure that would happen. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Now,
Last time we seen him in ICAST, I don't think he had a space left on his jersey last year.
no, he
no,
was just a
No.
no,
walking billboard.
yeah, yeah.
Now, what we want to give you a little chance to be able to talk about your sponsors. So, can you name a couple of your sponsors that help you to be able to get out on the water and stuff?
I have Spear Point. I have Sea Clear, Aqua View,
The heel sunglasses.
Vahio sunglasses,
Favorite rod and reels.
favorite rod and reels,
Uh,
and
you want to talk about some of them? You're missing some, but
yeah.
no cheat sheet.
Yeah,
So,
like me. When somebody asks that question, I'm actually having to look down here and kind of.
oh, I know. How many times do you see pros not look at their shirt when they're
Yeah,
on stage?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Even I can't remember all that.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean those are some of the bigger ones, and he's got Booyah, and he Mercury wants him to put in an application 2024 for the pro staff.
There you go.
We've gotten a letter for that, so he's got quite a few. Some are lesser sponsors, and but every sponsor helps, and I always tell kids get out there. Tell them what you can do for them. Don't ask them what they can do for you.
no,
You tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is where you're going to get recognized. And if they find that you're being honest and it's in their benefit, then they're going to start you out. And don't be depressed if they start you at a lower level,
yeah,
because there's a learning curve for both of you. You're going to learn who they are, and they're going to learn who you are. And I
right,
tell Hunter, look at and the one thing I tell Hunter is don't ever take sponsorship from a company that you haven't tried the product and you
exactly.
don't think it's the best product out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
because
And that's
if you don't believe in that product, then how can you sell that product?
yeah.
Exactly.
That's one of the
So
biggest
Exactly.
mistakes. Yeah, that's one of the biggest mistakes young anglers make today. That's trying to go out there and get sponsorship is you kind of hit the nail on the head, Gerry. Is you want to see what you could do for them way before you're going to get any kind of a return on what they're going to do for you. There's and that, I guess that kind of goes back to the generation of today, but there's so many kids with social media and all these different other avenues that uh, there's a lot of kids out there that's just trying to get out and get product
yeah,
and
Hmm.
don't want to put the time in, don't want to do the work for getting the product. So what you said right there is spot on, and it just kind of goes to show too, with Hunter, he just has a good background of experience that he's getting from you because you've been there, done that for years.
Hmm.
So the experience that he's getting and the teaching he's getting from you and the other guys is just steering him in the straight on narrow right direction.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's taken a whole team of us. It's taken Roland fishing with him. My
Hmm.
son Mike fishes tournaments. My son Mike fishes with him. And my son Michael have a tendency to be a little harder on him than I will. And sometimes you need that. You
Yeah.
know, he'll
It's
he'll go
that
back
tough
there and
love.
he'll go back there and he'll cut off all Hunter's favorite baits and give him ones that he hasn't tried yet and make him learn how to catch fish on baits he doesn't know. And
Yeah,
you guys all know you have to be very versatile. You have to know all these baits if you're
Yeah.
going to succeed.
Yeah,
that is
if
very
you're gonna
true.
make it in today's competitive bass fishing, you have to be versatile. You have to be able to do it. You have to adapt to what the fish want. You can't wait and make the fish adapt to what you're throwing. So yeah,
Hmm.
versatility is big today.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, now, Gerry, what has been the biggest improvement that you've seen Hunter here in the past year or so?
I think because I took him out of the kids, he was fishing kids tournaments, and I moved him up as my partner in team tournaments. I've seen where he's able to relate and talk intelligently to adults instead of children, and that's helped a lot. I think that's one of the big improvements. The other one is his ability to take a new bait, look at it, fish it, and then he'll grab the phone and Google and see what he should be doing with it if he feels he's doing it wrong. Him and electronics get along really like this, whereas us old guys, we don't want that. But I mean, he'll jump on the forward-facing sonar, and he'll see what's down there, and he's constantly like today. We were out on the water. He's almost sitting in my lap, looking at all my depth finders, reading everything. He's like, "Look, there's one there. Look, there's another one there." And he's eager to learn. So I think his eagerness to learn and his communication skills with adults has really improved in the last year. If
Yeah,
he does this again in 2025, man, by the time he's 16, he's going to be ready to take on the Toyota Series or the Bass Opens or whatever.
yeah. And then,
Um,
I mean, he may be the next youngest person to win a elite event and take that from Trey McKinney.
Yeah, he 19 years old, man. That's quite an accomplishment.
That
That's
is,
going to take somebody really focused to beat that.
yeah.
yeah. And but where Hunter, where do you stand uh with the let's talk about the forward facing sonar wise. Do you like use it more so than you not use it, or do you prefer to like beat the banks or whatever, or not? Or I mean, if you have it, you use it, but
Yes.
uh, how often are you using forward facing sonar than you are not using it?
I use it quite often because I can look at the fish, throw where they are, and catch them.
Now, how long has it taken you to be able to kind of refine that and be able to use it to your advantage? Because I know, like when I first got it, I mean, I could see my bait and being able to work the bait and stuff like that. It actually, I mean, it takes time looking at a screen to be able to figure it out. Were you able to pick it up pretty quickly?
Yeah, I just started it. So yeah.
So
When he was talking to me, we were talking about it today. He said he's just started using it. He just started understanding how to program and stuff.
right,
And he looked at me and he said, "Boy, I got a long ways to go."
yeah,
And it's true, at his age and, not having run that very much in the past, Florida being a flipping and pitching kind of place, it's shallow water, we haven't used it a whole lot. And we just recently we've been moving offshore into brush piles and stuff. And, he admits that he's got a long ways to go,
yeah,
you
Yeah.
know?
and because there's in Florida, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's really not that many lakes to kind of use that, really, and like to
Well,
take.
actually, there is. People say, "Oh, well, your home lake's Okeechobee. You wouldn't use that." Really? The
Well,
rim ditch, the
yeah,
rim
The
ditch is
yeah
35, 40 feet deep. There's fish in there.
the
right,
Elite
And
Series
and
last year.
now that we've come up with the or Fish Obsessed has come up with the new bracket for your transducer on the trolling motor. Just by snapping it, you don't need to unscrew anything. You
right.
can put that thing 0 and shoot right under the mats and see what's under the mats.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I was
You
gonna say
is
know?
is,
I was
and
gonna say
that's
Lake
what.
Okeechobee last year during I think it was the Elite Series was one on Ford Facing Sonar last year.
Yeah,
Had
Uh huh.
Tyler Rivette,
yeah Tyler Rivette.
the Scott Martin just destroyed them in the opens here. What
Hmm.
about a month
And
ago?
he was using it.
Uh, Yeah, but
Yep.
he was using. I think he was using it like what Gerry was saying, uh, to where it was shooting up. He wasn't. It wasn't like how we would use it up here. He was shooting it like what he was saying up underneath those mats and stuff.
If you use the brackets that come with the transducers, whether it be Garmin or Lowrance or whatever, they're bent in a certain degree. And when
Yeah.
you buy an aftermarket such as Fish Obsessed, who's one of the sponsors for both Hunter and I, you can actually set that at 0, and it'll look right under the mats. And
Right.
not
Oh,
only
that's
that, but
awesome.
you can go from down to forward to scout in a matter of seconds because everything's click, 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 and there's nothing to unscrew.
Right.
Wow. Okay,
Right.
It,
I got
it's
you.
really durable.
Yeah.
Right now, what do y'all do in Florida wise? Like, let's say you're fishing in a tournament and it's 90 degrees out. What do y'all do in a tournament to keep the fish healthy and still kicking?
G juice. And what we do, I probably should do a video on this. We take bottled spring water,
Mm-hmm.
and we take a little bit out of the top of the bottle, pour it down the sink, and we take G juice and we put it in there, and we freeze them with the cap off, and then we put the caps on and we throw them in our coolers on the hot days. So when the water starts heating up in there, you just take the cap off and throw one bottle in there.
Right.
So as the ice melts, it cools the water, and the G juice just keeps seeping into there and seeping
Ah,
into there.
That's
that's
actually a good
smart.
idea.
That is
Right,
smart.
and then the other thing I think for people that haven't seen it, I'm also sponsored by the Fish Lung, which is a $2,000, right around $2,000 aeration system for live wells, which is the thing of the future. And man, you run that, and them fish will stay in there all day, and they'll be happy. And
Yeah.
whoever's weighing them's going to hate you because they can't sit still. You know.
Yeah. That and
So
that's one thing. Like it always intrigues me is to see like the tournaments down in Florida and stuff, and knowing that that water temp is 90 degrees, the outside temp is 90 plus, and I'm like up here it's hard to I mean because we'll put ice and stuff like that, and then we've got that please release me that we'll put in it and stuff like that, but
right,
it's just to think of like with it being, and I guess with it the water temp already in the 90s and stuff down there that they're kind of used to the warmer. But I was wanting. That's why I was wanting to ask is because I know that it is kind of difficult at times to be able to keep them alive.
You typically to do no harm to the fish, you want it to go no more than 5 degrees cooler in the live well.
Yeah.
You don't want to drop that water by like 10, 15 degrees by putting a 10-pound bag of ice in there.
Right.
You
Yeah.
only want to drop it a little bit. You want to chill it, not freeze it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
because
other
I've
thing
seen.
too is a lot of people just drop bags of ice in, which
Yeah,
really
that's what I was
isn't
about to say.
good because when you buy ice from a convenience store or gas station, it has chlorine in it typically.
Hmm.
So what I used to do is I used to actually freeze bottles of water,
Yep.
and I'll add and I kept a thermometer where I could actually test the water temperature before I put the over the side, and then I could kind of keep an eye on what the live well temperature is at the same time, because like
Hmm.
you said, you don't want to go down too much. But I just put a bottle of water in at a time to try to keep the water regulated. But I don't open it up and let the ice get exposed just due to the chlorine factor where the water might have came from out of the tap. A lot of water sources don't have chlorine in it.
You know what's even better to monitor your live well temperature is one of those electric guns. You just shoot it, pull
Oh
the trigger
yeah,
and
Yeah.
bang, it digitally reads it. It's so
exactly.
simple,
Yeah,
and they're not very expensive. You can buy them from Amazon very
yeah,
inexpensively.
Right.
yeah,
But
That's a good idea
that's what
too.
we do for fish care, and we hardly ever lose a fish. And everybody knows the secret. If you don't, we'll say it now. But when you have a bleeding fish, you take a Mountain Dew and pour that down in his mouth, and it usually stops that bleeding in a snap of fingers.
yeah. Well,
What?
that
Why
works
it's
too.
why it's
That
Mountain Dew? I have no idea.
that works. Believe me, I've tried it before, and it does work because I always have Mountain Dew on the boat.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
do.
I'm a big fan of Mountain Dew. Never,
I
never
guess
get.
they are too.
Yeah, they are too. But
Yeah.
you make a good point there because I heard, I heard rumors about that years ago, and I actually tried it, and there's truth to what you just said about Mountain Dew. It does work.
Yeah, it does work.
So John Pate says, Hunter, now that you're a celebrity, how many girlfriends do you have at your school?
None.
No, that's
You're,
smart.
you're, yeah, you're just
Hey,
focused on fishing. They could come later. You just
that's
focus
what
on
Grandpa says too.
Yeah,
Grandpa says fishing first, they come later.
that's
you
it.
got plenty. You got plenty of time for girls. Uh, we have another question. Actually, came from Colin's dad, Mr. Steve Burnett. He was wanting to know: do you have any other interests other than fishing? Any other hobbies or anything that you like to do when you're not on the lake?
Uh, Four wheeler, because I have a 4 wheeler. I ride it around,
Like four
and I have
wheeler,
a pool and like go swimming. I have a remote control boat. I ride that around
right?
on the lake house.
Do you do
now,
any hunting?
Hmm?
Do you do any hunting?
No
No.
hunting.
No hunting.
Uh,
now, what is your favorite way to catch some bass?
Your favorite
I
technique?
yeah, I say you're like flipping into
There you go. That's a true Florida boy right there. Loves to flip.
Yeah.
yeah, I've
yeah.
never asked him that question. Good question to ask. I've never asked that.
Yeah.
um, so when you're flipping, what kind of setup are you using?
What is it? It'd be
Your equipment, he wants to know.
Right.
Carolina rig.
No, when you're flipping,
Oh, that.
go through the whole thing. Heavy rod, bait casting reel. What's your pound test braid you use?
What was it? 75.
65.
65 pound test braid.
And then I'll help him answer this one. We'll go all the way from a half ounce up to 2.25 ounces of weight, depending on what we're flipping or punching. And that's pretty much it. He uses a little bit shorter rod than me because of the height difference, a little bit more of a fast tip for him. Because I just like to rip them out of there. I mean, you give me a telephone pole and I'm good, but I have the arm strength for that. So, but he's getting there. 65-pound braid every once in a while, 50-pound, and we'll tell you a wild story. We're going to tell you something to make all your viewers think about. When we were in New Hampshire smallmouth fishing, Hunter will tell you that we're driving across the lake and we look over and the depth under the boat's like 165 feet of water. So as we're pulling up to a shoreline, we look down in 80 feet of water and we can see the rocks on the bottom in 80 feet of water.
Yeah.
So we go catch all these fish and people see that we're filming. So they kind of follow us around. And then when we get back to the ramp, they want to ask a lot of questions. So they said, we all using like 6-pound test, 8-pound test line, so that they wouldn't see your line. And I laughed and looked at them and said, every rod has 65-pound braid on it. And they go, well, that's impossible. Them fish see that. And I go, really? Have you ever used an Alabama rig? Are you going to tell me the fish can't see a steel wire in front of that bait?
Yeah.
And they don't know they just look like a deer in the headlight. They don't know how to answer that. Now there are some times where you maybe want to go to fluorocarbon or something because the water's super, super, super clear, or the fish have a lot of pressure on them. But typically, they don't see that wire. They see the movement of that lure. But honest to God, every one of our rods was 65-pound braid, and you had a visibility of 80 feet in those lakes.
Yeah.
And we were catching 50, 60, 70, 80 fish a day.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, it's a question for you, Gerry. What is your favorite braid and what size? And let's see, does he like to flip and let's see, and size? Does he like to flip at all times?
Okay, boy, all my secrets are going to come out on this show, man. You guys are all putting the good questions out there. I don't know if you all heard of Cortland making braid, but they have one that's called silent braid. It makes no noise at all. So going out of your guides or going up against the weeds or even over trees, you don't hear it. It's silent. And you go on their webpage, you'll see that. They also have one called Master Braid, but Master Braid will make noise, but the silent one's my favorite. And I typically use 50 to 65 pound. If you all want to know, Roland usually uses 65 or 80. So we do differ there a little bit. I don't use any kind of a leader. I directly tie to the braid, and I don't have any problems catching fish that way. And a lot of times I try to get away with a 3/4 ounce weight, 1 ounce weight, and only have to go up if the bait's just not getting through there.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite sizes. And I use 7-Eleven, mostly 7-Eleven, real heavy action rods.
Yeah. Now, do you guys rather flip jigs or do you rather flip soft plastics when you're flipping and pitching?
The honest answer to that is I let the fish tell me what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll have a jig on there and I'll have soft plastic on there. And I let them tell me what they want. So I'll go back and forth till I find out. And to be honest with you, I've been on the same body of water, and in the morning they eat the jig, and in the afternoon they want a little bait because there's been so many people fishing by them. They have to go in with like a BB cricket or something like that, something compact. So I mean, even in the course of a day, you have to change the size of your bait.
So, and John Page asking Gerry, do you like a swim jig over a chatterbait?
Yeah, but man, you guys are asking all the questions. Going to get everything out here. A lot of times, what I do is I put a bobber stopper on, I put a punch skirt on, and then I put a hook on, and I put my trailer on there, and I'll use that as a swim jig rather than actually using a real swim jig.
Right.
The only real swim jig I ever use is the Medlock jig made here in Florida, which came out about a year ago. They gave me a bunch to try, and they were really good. But I'm not a big fan of chatterbaits. They catch fish, but I catch a lot more on a swim jig or a homemade swim jig than I do on a chatterbait.
Right.
Hunter will throw a chatterbait more than I do.
Now, we do want to talk about the Kids for Fishing. Can you explain what Kids for Fishing is?
Yeah, exactly. Let me try and give you the condensed version because we don't want to take everybody's time. Kids for Fishing was an idea I had because I have 6 kids in Florida that I pay all their local tournament fees and pay for their shirts in the tournaments. And I decided that I wanted to start something that I could leave behind when my time's up, and I wanted the kids to have control over. So I started Kids for Fishing, and right now we're going through the 501c3 nonprofit. We have grants waiting for us to get that paperwork, and then they're going to grant us money. The kids that are going to be part of the decision makers on the board. We have a board, then we have a list of officers for the organization. And eventually, I want the kids to be able to run that without my help, and for them to call it theirs and have something they can be very proud of.
Right.
What we're going to do is we're going to provide rods and reels for kids that can't afford rods and reels. We're going to provide fishing trips for kids whose parents don't fish, or maybe they come from a home with a single parent. Right now, my core group of kids, with 6 kids, have been involved in stocking a fish pond that's used for kids fishing derbies. They've stocked bass, catfish, and brim. They've showed up at tournaments to help out with weigh-ins at tournaments. They've cleaned up some boat ramps. They've shown up at seminars I give and help out there. And they've been there when I've donated rods and reels. Like I've showed up to kids tournaments that I had nothing to do with the tournament itself, and walked down the row and I watched the kids get in the boat. And in some cases, the kids were borrowing the boat captain's rods, or the child was getting in the boat with like one rod. So I went down the row and gave them at least 2 ducket rods with bait casting reels and maybe about $150 worth of tackle to each kid I saw like that. And I had some of the kids with me, and they're learning how to do that. So that's what Kids for Fishing is all about. It's all about the kids, and that's how I want it to remain. It's going to be nonprofit because I don't want anybody making any money. Nobody will
Right.
get paid on that. It's going to be everything out, and I think it's something that we really need to do. These guys right here, they're our future. These guys and girls, some of them are
Right.
female. They're the future of our sport. So if we teach them young, man, how can they go wrong?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. You said something about going and giving rods away, and I want to talk specifically about one rod
Oh,
that
oh no. Here we
that
go.
that you won from the charity event that Norman and I done for Autism Angler. Your raffle ticket was drawn, which I mean you ended up stockpiling on. You got a couple rods and some other baits, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, that's
But
correct.
one of these rods was given to us from Lou's and stuff like that you actually got, that was a kid's rod.
Yes.
Whatever happened to that kid's rod?
Okay. It'll be coming out shortly, but just in the last couple days, Hunter and I were over at Headwaters fishing, and that was a kid's rod. It was a 2-piece rod. So we put it all together, and I was going to throw it, and I said to Hunter, "Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't you use this rod, and I want to see you catch a fish on this kid's rod, and then when we get off the lake, the first opportunity we have to come across a child that doesn't have a fishing pole, we'll give it away." So we did shoot that video of Hunter catching a fish on it.
Mhm.
Do you remember how big it was? Was it 3.5, 4 pounds?
2, 3 pounds.
2 or 3 pounds. I don't remember. We caught so many fish. But anyway, that video's coming out, and when we got back to the ramp to load up, we noticed a little boy and his parents getting off a guide boat, and they had no equipment. So we asked if the little boy owned a fishing pole, and they said no. So we told them who we were, how we acquired the rod through winning it, and asked and said that this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to video us catching a fish on it, and then right away donate the brand new rod to a child. and they were so happy. They said, "Thank you very
Yeah.
much." So that video will be coming out, but
Oh, good.
it was purple of all colors. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Norman picked that one out for you.
Okay. Thanks, Norman.
So, but no, that is awesome, and I mean, and that's people don't realize like the fishing family, like how it all comes together. And you got that rod from an event that happened in Chattanooga, and you're in South Florida, and
Mhm.
how the ties have merged each other to where, I mean, you've been on the podcast. It's the second time you've been on the podcast, uh, and how our fishing family is all just kind of intertwined with each other. And now, when you gave that rod out, I mean, you just expanded your reach and stuff, because now this kid, who knows, that the kid might grow up and be a professional angler, or even if he
Mhm.
just takes his kids out when he gets older and takes them. I mean, it was well worth giving that rod away. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it was. It was. People don't realize how many children out there are underprivileged and cannot get on the water or don't have any equipment to get on the water, and that makes a difference to them. Where each year when we get new free rods and free reels, we could get a pretty penny for all of our equipment. Because I mean, you're talking 2 dozen rods, and we can make a lot of money off that and all the reels with them. And instead, what we do is we collect all the old ones from last year together, and those are the ones we give out to kids tournaments when we identify they don't have rods.
man,
You know,
that
but
is
and that's what we feel we need to do because we never paid for them in the beginning. So why should we make money off them? We'd rather give them to kids.
right.
That's awesome.
And the thing is y'all are so privileged and blessed to be able to be in the part of the country to where you can fish literally all year round, and you're around big fish. So why not want to share that with other people, especially kids, to be able to, I mean, I'd rather see a kid on the side of a bank throwing any kind of baits out in the water than seeing them with their head on and their thumbs doing this on a PlayStation or Xbox.
Uh,
So
exactly. It's kind of funny because you said that. We're in Florida. We can fish all year round, and so this winter, we went on a striper trip so the hunter could catch some stripers,
yeah,
and we saw snow when we were there, northern Georgia. So I said, hey, besides that striper trip, I really want to bring Hunter up to New Hampshire, where I was born and raised, and have mice fish. So I got in contact with some friends up there, and I said, hey, I'm going to fly in with Hunter when you guys tell me there's enough ice, and we're going to do a video up there of ice fishing. And dude, they want me to do that show or promise to do that show every year because their ice never got thick enough for us to go there. They had a mild winter, and they think that it's my asking to go up there, so they want me to ask every year from here on out.
right.
Yeah.
So uh, let's see. Another question asking for Hunter says, Hunter, do you ever get nervous when you're filming a TV show?
Sometimes, yeah.
Now,
Sometimes I don't know what to say, and I just get a little nervous.
right. That's when you just ramble on.
Yeah.
But now, was speaking of TV shows, uh, do when you've gone out fishing with Roland and stuff, have you ever noticed when Roland says that he's caught like a 6, 7 pounder, that it might actually be a 4 pounder?
Yeah.
Hide the laugh there, dude. Go ahead, put the hand down. You laughing? Roland catches the fastest growing fish in the world. When he hooks them, they're like 3, 4 pounds, and by the time they're released, they gotten 6 or 7 by the time they're gone.
Yeah, we
You
had
know?
when we had Jimmy Houston on, and he says that's one of the funniest things. He said and he's like, Roland actually believes that that's the size that they are. He's like, every time I go out and he'll catch a 4 or 5 pounder. He says that's at least a 7 or 8 pounder. And he's like, I have to tell him that was only like a 4 or 5 pounder.
Uh, yeah, I've actually filmed with him one, and I can remember when I boat flipped it. He goes, "Whoa, that's a nice 5 pounder." And then I pick it up, I get the hook out. He goes, "Look at that, folks. We've only been out here 30 minutes. Jerry's already got a 6 pounder." And we'll get some pictures. We'll release it. And he goes, catching a fish almost 7 pounds down here in Florida. That's like an everyday occurrence. And that fish just grew 2 pounds in like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a fast growth ratio.
I'm telling you. No, I had to at least ask that because I've noticed it on like the TV. Everybody knows, and everybody gives him a
Uh,
hard time about it. But
did you notice recently though on a lot of his fish, he's now using the Bubba scale and he's showing it to the people because we're
uh,
trying to get him away
that's
from that. We're trying to get him away from this miracle grow thing and with fish.
right.
Yeah.
That so that's pretty cool. Um, Hunter, what is your career goal? Are you wanting to be able to fish professionally, or you just want to keep it as to where you're a pretty good hammer and just fish like weekend tournaments?
I like to be both professional and having fun and everything.
Yeah. Well, that's the main thing. Definitely want to keep it as a fun. Once it becomes to where it's a lot of work and to where you feel like this is too much, then that's when my grandfather says when you feel like you're not loving it is and it's not fun anymore. That's when you got to step out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just make sure you're having fun with it and you keep on growing. And we're definitely going to be seeing you either at the Bass Pro Tour or on the Elites here sometime here in the near future.
Yeah.
So, what do you do you like? Because I know like we've seen a lot of videos here of late where you've been out on the airboat and stuff. Do do you like just cruising around in the airboat and fishing out of the airboat, or would you rather be in a bass boat hammering down?
I like the airboat. It's fun.
Now, when
What
you get out in the airboat, do they take you back to places that you can actually? Because that my feeling, I never personally fished out of an airboat, but I do know that you could get into some places with an airboat where fish live that you just can't get with a bass boat. Have you been in some of them places with the airboat yet that you just can't get into with a bass boat?
Yep.
If you go over to our Facebook page that you can look under my name, you'll see some videos that we took in there from the last few days where we actually run the airboat dry 3 times because we went from the one we launched in up and out into another one, up and out into another one, up and out into another one. And we got way out in the middle of nowhere where we don't even know if the bass ever seen a lure back there. But we
Wow.
were way out in the swamp.
Yeah.
Now, but living in Tennessee, Hunter, we have nothing around here that goes after any kind of fish that we catch. And the last time that I went down to the Everglades, I actually had an alligator destroy one of the peacocks that I caught. Have you ever
Wow.
had that issue?
They chase them, but we never had to
Yeah,
catch them.
chase them, but never want caught them.
Because Hunter knows how to steer it away from the daggum alligator, Carl.
So
Nah, Colin needs to come down here with reels that are like
This
9.3 to 1 ratio, so you can outburn them big fat
the,
alligators.
the
well, I'll
story
tell
that
you
he
this.
the story that he's leaving out is we both had 5 pound peacocks on at the same time, and that we had a gator stalking both of us all day long when we're out with Captain Neil Stark down there in the Everglades,
Yeah.
and we both had 5 pounders on, set the hooks at the same time, and I actually maneuvered mine all the way around the gator, and Colin tried to
Well,
drive it right over top of his head.
Norman was also like 10 yards past where I had caught the fish. and we were on along this grass line, and the grass line was on our right side. He was to my right, so I had nothing but open water, and the alligator was right here. So I'm trying to maneuver around Norman, trying to and get the peacock to where I'd rather it had gone into the grass, but I was trying. I had Norman in my way. Norman's going this way. I'm trying to go this way. The alligator came this way. The peacock splashed, and as soon as it splashed, that gator just went whoop right to it, and then it splashed again. And next thing you see is
Going,
it
going.
was gone.
Moral of the
Yeah.
story is that gator had a good meal that evening.
Yeah.
I remember filming with Roland at Headwaters, and I think it's actually we're in the Everglades. We're in a canoe, and you'd have to look up the episode, but I think it says something like 10-pounder lost, and he had a 10-pounder on Devil's Horse, and it snapped him off. And as soon as it snapped off, a gator ate him, lure and all.
Wow.
And I said, not only that bass died, but if that lure gets stuck in that gator's throat, the gator may die too.
Yeah.
But you never know when them gators are going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
They can stay underwater an awful long time and get really close to you.
Yeah. Well, and that was one thing. The first time, what was it, 2 years ago? Like I've seen gators, like when I've gone on vacation and I've gone to like a place that actually has gators, and they'll do I've never seen gators in the wild until 2 years ago, and we were down in the Everglades, and just going down the canals and stuff, and that they're not. I mean, it may be 2 boat wide, or like if you have 2 boats side by side, you might have about 8 feet on each side. But we'd have these gators come right down the center of the canal, and then as we're getting close, they kind of go away or go around us. Well, we had this one gator, and I had never. I was on the trolling motor, and this gator come past us, decided to do a U-turn, come up to the console, and then just turn and was facing the boat. And so I'm over here not knowing anything about, I mean, this is cool. I mean, and so I had my GoPro going, I had my phone out taking pictures, and Norman's like, Colin, you may want to get on the trolling motor because right now you are the biggest thing in this boat. And he's thinking himself, do I need to go eat or do I not? So
I told Colin, I said, that gator's not looking at me, dude. That's looking at that big belly of yours with a lot of meat on it. Like he doesn't want a bone. He wants some meat. So he's not eyeballing me. And then I told Colin that gator could come in his boat anytime he wanted if he wanted to. So Colin got on the trolling mode a little bit at that time.
So
we get in an area down in the Everglades with an airboat where Roland actually owns an airboat camp on an island in the middle of the Everglades, and there's a canal there that we fish. And you go in there and you'll see like 15, 20 gators. And every time you hook a bass, you've got to reel like heck because they're all chasing your bass.
Really?
And it's like a unique. One day, you know what? I'm going to talk to Roland. Him and I need to go out there and film that so that people can see that. But it's amazing. You'll just see them all come for after one bass. It's just crazy what they do.
Hey Hunter, what's this about a gator attacking some power poles?
Tell that story.
There was
the guy that made the comments, Mike Brousseau, wanted to know.
I didn't even see that one.
That's my son. Yeah, that's my son Mike. He was in the boat with us.
All right.
Yeah, tell him what happened.
Is that on?
So we were fishing, right? Then we were catching bass, and all of a sudden a gator comes chasing us because we're catching bass. Then he gets like too close to the boat and stuff. Then he put down the power poles. He attacked it as soon as it hit him. He just attacked it. He tried. And he swam up. He kept chasing us, and the second time he didn't attack the power poles, and the third time he didn't attack the power poles because he knows now.
Again, we didn't have a camera when he he actually bit the power pole and shook it when we put it down the first time, but we didn't have a camera on it. So the second time he came right behind the motor and I hit the power poles. He just, you see him jump. I mean, it comes right near him. So we said power poles are also a gator deterrent. You can see that video on my Facebook.
John Pate says, Hunter, how does it feel to be fishing with such a great fisherman like your grandpa? And what is the most valuable lesson that he has taught you about fishing? You kind of answered that already, part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome to fish with someone like this guy over here because he's good.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, we know when we had him on the last time, Hunter, and Roland was with him. We knew that he was a good fisherman, period. But when he said that he would take Roland out hunting and he would go fishing, and Roland just called him after he got done hunting, then that's when we knew how dedicated he was instead of
yeah,
going
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
hunting. So
Yeah.
Rather be on the water than the tree stand. That's awesome.
yeah.
yeah.
So Norman, we have reached an hour, a little over an hour.
I'll tell you
So
what, time flies when you're having fun doing what we love to do, talking fishing.
yep.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find some more questions.
Just in case, while you're looking up some questions, just in case I forget, I want to thank you guys for doing that raffle for autism and the stuff you do for events like that. Because I spend my time always with kids, and you guys do it on a various different levels, and that's really genuine of you guys to take your own personal time, your wife's time, and everything else to do those kind of things. That's what keeps this sport alive, and that's what makes us all family when we're out on the water. That's
Yes.
very big of you guys.
Thank you.
Well, and the thing is, because none of us do it to get a pat on the back, and
Mm,
we do it because we actually care about people getting out. We want to grow this sport, and that's the main thing because we're we're privileged to be able to live in a country to where we can go anywhere and be able to catch many different kind of species of fish and stuff. So
mm,
to be able to get a kid out and be able to see that smile when they catch that first fish or when they catch a fish, period, is well worth all the work.
mm.
Hmm.
So
That's true.
Hunter, next question is, and we'll have two more questions, and I'll ask this one, and then Norman, if you don't mind asking the last question.
Okay.
Um, this question is from Michael, and it says, Hunter, what is your goal here in the next 5 years?
My goal is to go into an area and catch a lot of big bass and maybe even get one over 10 pounds. That's
That
my goal. Is I just
And
want to
continuing.
yeah,
I just want
that
to continue catching my personal best
yeah. Well,
and reach those.
you're in a perfect spot to be able to catch that double digit fish.
Yeah.
And so, because uh, when you catch that double digit fish, you join a group that a lot of people can't say that they've ever done.
Yeah.
So, um, Norman, you got any more questions before you ask the final?
The only thing I got, man, is just keep doing what you're doing, Hunter. Man,
Yeah,
just keep the grind going. Keep that head down. Keep focused. Focus on your schoolwork, and then you can focus on your fishing. But man, you're doing a great job. We watch
yeah,
you on Facebook, watch your videos with your grandpa and Roland, and you keep doing what you're doing, man, and you're gonna go places.
yeah,
And remember, you're never going to get too old or too. I don't want to say too old, but you're never. And no matter how much you learn in this sport of fishing, you're never going to stop learning. I don't care how good you get. You could be the biggest veteran on tour in 20 years, and you're still going to be learning and picking up stuff.
Yep.
So just keep the ears open, keep the grind going, and man, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing it the right way. You're very very humble, and that's the way to stay. You know, stay humble and stay driven, and
Yep.
uh, and always listen to your grandpa and your mentors that you have around you in your corner because they know what they're talking about and they've been there and they've done that. So, but anyway, Hunter, man, keep it up, dude, because you are
Yep.
awesome.
Thank you.
That, that
But
is,
anyway,
and
go ahead.
I do want to say when we go to ICAST and we'll make sure that we run into you, Hunter, and we want to do a video wherever you're at. If you're in a booth or something like that, we want to do a video with you, and you can talk about the product or whatever. If you're not in the booth and we shoot it, uh, we'll just have you pick something and talk about a product that you're using and stuff. And so we want to shoot a video with you.
Yeah,
We'd probably like to do that one at Sea Clear if we could,
Okay.
yeah,
if
definitely.
that's okay with you guys.
It
That's
doesn't matter.
perfectly
We just
fine. We
want
just
to
need
be
Uh,
to.
able to do a video, and what we'll do is hunters we'll record it, we'll edit it, and then we'll send it your way to where y'all can do whatever you want with it as well.
Yeah.
So, but all right, Norman.
All right, and we're gonna do this as a two part. This is for both of you, one at a time. If you were to have one person to fish with for the day, and again, this person could be passed on or still with us, who would that person be and why? And we're gonna start with Grandpa.
I'm gonna. A lot of you people don't probably even know this, but it would be Brian Kerschel, who
Oh,
30 years ago won the Classic. This is the 30-year anniversary because he won it in 1994, and he was killed shortly after in an airplane accident. You know, the
Yeah.
plane crashed, and not everybody on board died, but Brian did. Brian and I are from the same neck of the woods. Never fished together, but fished against each other. Um, I have a bunch of his whistles from every time he caught
Yep.
a fish in that classic, he blew the whistle.
I
And
did.
I'm going to be handing a bunch of those out this year. If you guys want them, remind me. I'll bring them to ICAST.
Okay.
But I'll be handing out a bunch of them because it's the 30th anniversary.
yeah,
And
Okay.
here's something you maybe don't know. They're green and they have his autograph on the
Okay.
side of them.
yeah.
But the parents made a special run of them, gold plated, numbered 1 through 100. And when his parents asked me, "What number do you want? Do you want a low number?" I said, "If you don't mind, I'd like to take 94 because I'll never forget the year he won the classic."
Right.
And so it'd probably be Brian. That's what I would say.
And to this
I mean, he
day,
was he was a good guy, and he was taken away way too young.
Yeah.
yes, he was. He was
And a
actually
lot of
taken
people.
away the like very shortly after he won the classic
Yeah.
that year, and to this day, he's still the only amateur fisherman ever to win a classic.
What's really kind of haunting to me is that the plane that crashed was leaving North Carolina, I believe it was, maybe Greensboro,
Right.
and Roland was there, and he was going into Mexico and that was the interconnect. And Roland's the last one to talk to Brian before Brian boarded the plane.
Wow,
And so both of them are friends of mine,
Yeah.
wow,
but it'd definitely be Brian.
yeah,
Now, and a lot of people don't know the history, or even especially like the younger anglers and stuff doesn't know anything about the whistles or even know the fact of even know who he is. And
Hmm.
so with you saying that and having the whistles and stuff like that, I think that is pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that he made it the hard way through the Bass Nation.
hmm,
And the year before he won, he made it and finished dead last in the Classic.
yeah,
So he went back to back. He made it the next year, and the gentleman had given him that whistle. And every time he caught a bass, he blew that whistle, and he ended up winning that thing.
Yeah.
And that's
Hey,
like impossible what he did, that back to back and winning it.
yeah,
That'd be my pick.
yeah.
All right, Hunter.
All right, Hunter.
I would say Toby Keith because he's a country singer and I like his songs. He sings very good songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now, and I seen him at ICAST, and yeah,
Mm.
it was a very good.
You got to speak on one with him and his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's another one that gone way too soon.
yeah.
Hmm.
It
yeah,
was sad to see him die.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and the thing is like I didn't realize uh, like how much he really loved fishing, and up until uh, what a couple of years ago, and then we were able to see him last year at ICAST as well, and he was just as friendly as all get out. Was willing to talk, uh,
Hmm.
but once we seen the news that he had passed, it was very sad, and
Yeah.
so
He, I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but he had just purchased
luck, Lucky Strike,
Lucky Strike, yeah.
yeah,
And he, he told a lot of you, and I don't know if you guys asked, but he told a lot of you that he was in remission, that his stomach cancer was gone.
yeah,
And he only told a few of us that the one in his lung was growing bigger and they couldn't do anything for it. So he
yeah,
knew. He
yeah,
knew.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
pretty sad.
so, but other than that, at one point we had over 1,200 viewers, Hunter, on here. So,
Oh, you're a
Mm.
superstar, buddy. I think that's
Wow.
more than when I was on. Man, you outnumbering me, dude.
Wow.
That's it. I'm going home.
so,
Guys, we
but
really appreciate you coming on, man.
yeah,
It's been a privilege to sit down and talk with you, Hunter, and Gerry, and it's always fun hanging with you guys.
yeah. Now,
Hey,
is
good.
there how can like if people want to start to follow you and Hunter, how can they like follow you on social media?
They can go on my Facebook, which is under Gerry Brousseau. They can go on YouTube. It's Gerry and Hunter Brousseau, and they can go on. They can Google www.jerrybrousseau.com. And Hunter's getting ready to have his own webpage shortly, so
Awesome.
they can just sign into his webpage and follow him there.
Yeah,
Because having his stuff with my stuff gets kind of confusing, because some people think that some of my sponsors are his. So if
yeah,
he gets his own www page, they'll be able to go in there and see, and it gives Hunter something that he can maintain
Yeah.
under adult supervision. I tell people it's okay to let your child have a site, but you make sure that you supervise everything they do,
exactly.
because we live in those kind of times right
Yeah.
now.
And so when you get that up and Gerry, and if you will send us like the links, or we can pull up the links, and what we'll do is when Hunter gets that up, we will advertise for him to where he can start getting, maybe it'll help you get a little bit more traffic going into it, and
Hmm.
get it going
Yep.
for you. So
Yep. And we really appreciate you guys asking us to come on with you. And, it's always nice to talk with you guys, always nice to run into you guys, and by all means, let's plan something around ICAST for the airboat trip.
heck yeah.
Um, Actually, next month, I'm going to be with Ricky Medlock from Leonard Skinner. We're doing the
Wow.
airboat. We're doing the airboat trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say the date because we don't want a lot of people there,
Yeah.
but we're going to be. And his whole goal is to get double digits. That's all Ricky wants. I don't care if I catch one fish. I want it to be a fat one.
Yeah.
So that's
So
what he's after. But
Awesome.
hey,
we'll make it happen. And one time we'll come out to Chick and we'll fish with y'all out in Chick.
that's what I was about to say. If
Yep.
we got to make a trip to where y'all come up here on Chick, and or if you want to catch some pretty decent sized smallies, we can put you on some smallies too.
Yeah, he's got to keep his skills brushed up on smallmouth because unfortunately we can't do that. Spotted bass and smallies don't grow in our water.
Yeah.
So
So But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. And Gerry and Hunter, thank you for coming on. And I always like picking your brain, Gerry and Hunter. I always enjoy chit chatting with you. And I can't wait to see what the future has in store for you, Hunter. And because you do have a bright future, and so we are excited. We're proud for you, and just keep your head straight, and you're gonna do great things, brother. So,
Thank you.
but guys, we're gonna get off here. The fat boy has got to eat, and I just got back
We
from
got an
South
early morning
Carolina.
tomorrow too, so
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
gotta. We're gonna be leaving around. Norman's coming to pick me up around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and we're heading to Red Crest.
Hey,
And
how did you know this fat boy was hungry?
oh, because I know fat boys and fat boys love to eat.
Oh man, I'm hungry too. Let's do it.
this skinny boy loves to eat too, and I'm smelling
Yeah.
something seeping down from the stairs. I think my wife's up there cooking. So
So,
I'm eating pretty
but
soon
guys,
too.
we're gonna get off here.
Live the
And
passion.
hey, Norman, real quick, do you want to say who we got next week, or what we got
Yes,
going on next week?
yes. Next week we are actually going to be at the Classic. Next week we leave Wednesday. Next Thursday for our episode. Next Thursday is during Media Day. We have a great episode coming up. Keep same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is actually going to be a taped episode though. It's actually a two-parter. Same episode. The first half of the episode, we are at Birmingham, Alabama, at the BASS headquarters, where we get a chance to sit down with Eric Lopez, which Eric Lopez is the event director of the site director. Uh, for BASS, and I think I said that wrong, but anyway, Eric Lopez. And then the second half of the interview, we are get a chance to sit down with Chris Martin from Daiwa. So it's going to be a great episode you don't want to miss. Same time next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also keep in mind too, most likely on Sunday, which is the final day of the Classic, we are going to have a special live broadcast, which is going to be our normal live next week during the Classic. We're going to do it again this year, just like we done last year, from the press conference room at the Bassmaster, right where they're going to be weighing in like 2 or 3 hours after we do the live. So keep that in mind too.
And
And
we
we'll give
may have a
updates as
special
far as,
guest.
and we might have a special guest coming on. We're not going to say any names now, but you all know who it is once he comes in with us. But anyway, we'll announce the times later because we're not sure on the time yet.
Yeah. So
Can't wait to
guys,
see everybody.
we're probably gonna go live tomorrow from Red Crest, but other than that, we're gonna get off here, go grab us some food, and then we gotta get ready to go to sleep. So guys, y'all hope y'all have a blessed one, and
All right, Lions.
live
Live the
the
passion.
passion.